and I didn't realize that I was logged into my other account. So I went live in that channel, but I'm here on this channel now, on the correct channel. I was like wondering, why isn't it letting me? Why isn't it letting me go live? Why is nobody on here yet? But if you're on here, let me know that you're on here in the live chat. We're having a conversation yet again. We had a conversation yesterday. We're testing out this new feature that YouTube has that allows me to invite guests onto to the conversation with me, and then you can let me know. You can let me know a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your story. Maybe you want to share how your journey with God, or you want to share how you came to the channel. I'm not sure. Whatever it is that you want to share, you're welcome to join me. All you need to do is email me, and then I'll email you a link to join me. Let me get on here on the live chat here. Now, okay, now it's the right one. I will add my email address here. There's the email address. All you need to do is email that, and then I'll email you a link that you can click on to join me. But first, you have to update your YouTube video. I'm sorry, your YouTube app on your phone, and I think you need to be logged into to Gmail. I'm sorry, to your Google account. The other thing to make note of is that you don't have your speaker on so that it doesn't feed back. So welcome. I see Horseface Guy on here. Hi. We have Michelle in the house. Thank you. Lisa, hey, welcome back. Zoe, we got Jackie Hudson. We had a lot of fun yesterday talking to some people. I'm gonna break down some of those conversations into smaller videos to share with you all, so that everyone can hear some of these stories. Some of these stories that we heard yesterday were very touching, very moving, very enlightening, and we learned a lot, didn't we? So if you're interested in joining, just send us an email there, and then I will bring you on board. Andre from a Brazilian brother. I just got an email from Andre. All right, I'm gonna save this one here. Jackie, you're here. You want to join me, Jackie? Jackie, here, I'll bring you on. Let me send you the link. Jackie, there is the link. I sent you an email on your link. So if you haven't gotten it yet, I just keep refreshing your Gmail. I'm sorry, your email until you receive it. Lady Marie, thank you. We have who else do we have in here? Joyanne, welcome. My son wants pizza. Oh yes, pizza's important. We have to we have to have pizza. I've just got home from being a proper adult and going out for a meal with my daughter's boyfriend's parents. Oh, okay, that's very adult. That's very adult. Twisted Knot, hello, welcome. I'm just waiting for Jackie to join me on this conversation, and then we'll get started. Okay, Horseface Guy. That's funny. Please don't be any more detailed than that. Let me see. Let me readjust my camera because it looks like it's a little higher on the screen there. Beautiful. Jackie, let me know if you're having any issues with that link. Okay. Hey, I have a question. Okay, Twisted Knot. Shoot. What is your question? Done. Okay, Jackie. I'm waiting on my end for you to enter that back there. I have a bit of a problem. Okay. Usually, the suspense is killing me. When I think I messed something up. I try to fix things. Okay. I see you there, Jackie. I'll bring you on in just a second. You try to fix things, but usually it gets worse. Okay? Okay. Is there a question there, or is that it? I want to bring you on in just a second, Jackie. Do you have any advice for this? Okay. I do actually. This happens recently to myself, to some of the people that I know, and that's this. You want to make sure that you're not overthinking. Oh, Jackie, where'd you go? Don't go, please, Jackie. Come back. Because I notice this has affected people and I've interacted with before. Okay. I, I'm not exactly sure if you realize this or not in that moment, but sometimes we have a tendency to react to what it is that we're feeling. Sometimes, oh, it kicked you off. Try it again, please. Sometimes it we have a tendency of reacting to our first initial emotion or our first initial thought. You might want to back up a little bit from the situation before you react or before you do anything to try to fix it, because sometimes it's really not broken. Sometimes your perception of it just may seem like whatever it is that you're going through is damaged or broken. Here, I'm going to bring you on, Jackie, and then I'll finish answering this while I have you on there so it doesn't boot you off anymore. Jackie! Super excited to talk to you.
Again.
Again, yes.
Hello.
So give me 1 second. Let me just finish
Okay.
explaining the twisted knot, and then you can chime in if you want on this one. But sometimes people have a tendency, okay, there's an issue, and then we overthink it. We start thinking, man, I really messed up. This person's offended, or you know what, I really messed up. I think this person might have taken it the wrong way, and that person might be completely oblivious to your screw up or your your problem. But then you try to fix it, and in trying to fix it, you make it worse because maybe they didn't know that there was an issue, um, or maybe it didn't need to be fixed. So sometimes what I would suggest is that you just take a step back from the situation and really don't overthink it, but allow it to sort of simmer for a minute before you act on it. What do you think about that, Jackie?
Sounds about right.
Have you
Oh,
ever
I'm fighting with a cat.
oh, who's winning?
Ow!
Oh, cat's winning.
He's off. Whew. He's had enough.
So sometimes I think it's just best before you deal with anything at all, like to take a step back and take a look at it first and see whether or not it really does need fixing, or sometimes some things just need you to give it a little bit of space and a little bit of time.
Yes, I've learned to say, um, can I just have a think about that
Mm,
rather than an instant reaction,
right.
as I used to do.
Yeah. I think it's important to respond and not react and know the difference, right?
Yeah.
So Jackie, tell us what's up with you. What's going on in your life now?
Oh, it's so busy.
That's good. That's
I'm
good.
so involved in the church. Oh,
Okay, and for
uh,
people who may not know your background, would you mind just briefly touching?
brief. Yeah. I picked up on the chosen bits and bobs, liked it, then discovered that you were doing a critique on it as an atheist, and I thought that's right up my street. I'm atheist too. So I did started following you. You did the YouTube things. I discovered you did also the music,
Mhm.
which I'd never heard of. So I
Yeah.
started following you and seeing the music and loving it. I started to follow some of the services in America because of the lockdown.
Mhm.
And during one of those services, it wasn't an altar call at all. I was still an atheist. and I just sensed, hurt. Jackie, follow me. And I knew it wasn't me because I was known as Jax, not
Okay.
A. So, and I just knew. And I said yes, and was on the floor for 2 hours, maybe more, crying my eyes out.
Oh wow.
I hadn't cried since I was 4. I
Oh
was I was 70 at that time. So yeah, a long time.
yeah.
And followed the American services still because I like the worship music. Uh, One of my walks, I do a lot of walking. I saw a sign for the vineyard. I knew no idea what that was. I had no idea of even finding a church.
Yeah.
So I walked down and it said, "Welcome home." Although the church was shut, it said, "Welcome home." And as you with your 333,
Uh
it was home with me.
huh.
And I went, ah, went home online to see what was going on, realized they were singing the songs that I loved.
Uh huh.
So I went for a visit, just coming out of lockdown. Not many people there because of that.
Hmm.
The pastor introduced himself, a young man. I talked to him and I said, "Well, I won't be here in a fortnight because I'm going for an eye operation." And he put his hand on my shoulder and just said a 2, 3 minute prayer,
Hmm.
um, which absolutely blew me away. Wow. And I've been going ever since. I was back October 21,
Uh huh.
uh, and I'm heavily involved in the church. We have like a soup kitchen.
Hmm.
I help with that. We have a 0 to 5s. I help with that. I'm doing a leadership year, so I'm involved more or less with all the services. I'm on the welcome team. You name it.
You're just completely involved. Completely
Yes,
involved.
and they've been. I mean, Josh, the pastor will say, "You're such a blessing to this church," and I always say, "But you've been such a blessing to me."
Mm.
The things I've been able to do, the changes that have gone on are just incredible.
I'm so happy for you, Erica. And I sometimes we just want to reach through the screen and give
Yes,
you
I
a
know.
giant hug. Oh, that's so wonderful. I'm really happy that you've come this far.
Yes, I found a home.
That's
I
wonderful.
found family.
Yes, a familia.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, um, I went out. I was invited by one of the young men yesterday, and we had coffee. We're only supposed to be out for a coffee. 3 hours later,
Yeah, tell me about it.
um, but yeah, although it's a very young church, average age can only be 26, maybe 27.
Mm,
I'm just, I'm just part of it.
mm. That's great. And you've been a part of the kitchen, right? And
Yep,
you in the last few weeks you've been
yep,
feeding people.
yep.
What was that? Has How has that been, or what have you learned
Mm.
from that
Well,
experience?
what I learned, well, it's the first, on the Monday we fed between 85 and 90 people. We always have the soup kitchen, we call it the table. At Christmas, it was called the King's Table,
Mm,
and a lot of um, agencies were invited, and they brought their people from drug, alcohol, uh, anything like that. People alone, people on the streets, people, yeah, not in a good place.
mm,
Uh, and it was just incredible how thankful these people were,
mm.
that they said, "We can feel the love here." They're not Christian, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
um, but we feel the love. You're all genuine people. And that to me, I just went, wow. And then the following week we fed, which we did a separate thing because it was for vulnerable women.
Mm,
So again, drugs, alcohol, streetwalkers,
yeah.
uh, and that was amazing. I've not really been involved in that before, so that I learned there's still people. I could have been there.
Mm,
It would have been very easy for me to be there. So that was really it was very busy. I was a really tired bunny, but I was so happy
mm. Why is that important? Why is it important to
because that's what Jesus did.
mm,
He fed or was with the prostitutes, the alcoholics, the tax collectors, and that's what this church tries to do.
mm.
We're in this city, we're praying for this city, we're praying for them to come home. So,
But d-
and we don't preach at them.
right.
On Monday, our regular guys, they will now come up and say, my shoulder's really sore. Will you pray for me? I went,
Mm.
wow, yeah. We don't preach.
uh, why
We
why
we
why is
show
that
the
important?
love. We show the love of Christ. And we've got three people now coming to our Sunday services that came to the table first,
That's wonderful.
and they're beginning to accept. You
Uh-huh.
know,
Yeah,
God loves them no matter what. We love them. God loves them.
I
So
love
yeah,
that. I love that because in that there's an opportunity for transformation and not just conversions, right? Not just turning people into numbers, but
no,
really truly transforming them when they're ready, right? On their
yeah,
on their time.
yeah. Getting to know them. A lot of these people don't speak to anybody from 1 week to the next. So if they want to talk about their problems, that's fine. I mean, I will when I pour tea or coffee, I will say, "Are you okay?"
Mm,
And you get to know the people. I mean, one of the guys, I looked at him and I said, "You're not okay, are you?" And he went, "No." And he then talked to me because you
yeah,
get to know them, you can see
yeah,
that. But again, I did not push
right.
religion onto him because I don't believe in religion; it's faith.
Mm.
And all you can do is sow the seeds,
Yeah,
and then
right.
it's up to God to do the rest.
Oh, that's great. I have a question for you.
Mhm.
What kind of atheist were you? Were you bitter? Were you cynical and all that?
Yeah, I didn't want to know God at all. If he had ever, I did think maybe he had created the world, but
Maybe.
maybe, but
Yeah.
he'd walked away from it.
Okay.
We were so bad that he'd walked away from him, so there was no God.
Mm,
Um, I'd been to a couple of churches and all the stuff that had happened there. I went, if that's Christianity, thank you very much, go away.
mm.
So that's the kind of atheist I was.
Do
I
you think
didn't,
do you think that experience of being an atheist helps in some way with your newfound faith? Does it?
yes,
In what way?
because it's all fresh, it's all new. People knew I was an atheist.
Mm.
I now get people say, "You go to church now, don't you?" Yes. And here comes my testimony. That's not how I say it, but this is what happens.
Mm.
And they listen. I mean, my friends who've known me for a long time, you've changed so much. I mean, I was on antidepressants. I was not in a good place,
Mm.
and now, yeah,
Look at you now.
yeah, it's a different story. Okay, I'm still going through counselling because of my past,
Yeah.
but again, it's something that the church has organised. I couldn't afford it,
Mm.
and the pastors just went, "But you need proper counselling, not just us listening to you."
Mm.
Which is great, but you need professional help.
Mm.
And they've organised that. And that's what's happening at the moment. So, yeah, some weeks are hard and lots of tears.
Yes.
you have to go through the manure, to put it politely,
Yes.
to get to the other end, and I'm prepared to do that.
And I'm sure that your experience has something to teach people who have been in their faith for very long when they're dealing with someone who has no faith like you.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for them when dealing with, say, an atheist cousin or a brother or someone who may have walked away from their faith?
I mean, I've got 2 children that have walked away. All I can do is pray for them.
Mm,
They know I go to church, and I will share that with them in sort of a light-hearted. Well, I've been to church. We had a great service,
mm.
um, and all I can do is plant seeds. I can't, you know, I can't do anything else, and then leave it up to God. It's his turn now, but I keep praying for them, and just and which quite surprised me. Neither my son or daughter have sort of gone, "Oh, mom, what are you doing now?"
Yeah,
They've sort of gone, "Oh, that's nice," and I get little likes underneath what I plant, and it's
yeah,
great.
that's
So
wonderful. I'm gonna call you Farmer Jackie now. Just planting seeds everywhere you go.
I am. And as Josh the pastor said, "You will share it." I said, "Well, they ask how I've got to church, how I've gone from atheism to now going to church. So
Mm.
guess what? I'll share my story."
What do you think the biggest obstacle for an atheist is to get over that atheism or whatever it would
I think church itself has a
blame?
lot to blame. Uh, yeah, for not bringing people to faith. It's not a case of standing on a street corner shouting at people.
Mm,
I don't think that's going to help at all.
mm,
Um, but it's the things that Jesus did,
mm.
being alongside people, not not shouting at them, saying you need to go to church, you have to believe in God, you will go to hell, you will whatever.
Right. Not the hard approach or even the softer approach of like, hey, Jesus loves you and he died for you. Like when
Yeah,
an atheist has decided that there is no God, neither one of those things will help. But the
nope.
thing that I think will penetrate all of that is to meet with love and to meet with
Yes,
kindness. Right?
yes, yeah. When they see the love in you, and they sort of go, I'm this horrible person, whatever I am. Why are you loving on me? Because this is what Jesus did,
Yeah. They'd be
and
like,
that's
well,
what Jesus
that's
did
not the
to me.
Jesus I've ever heard of.
Exactly. Yeah, we get that quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's not. I've not heard of this Jesus.
Yeah. Which Jesus are you praising? As if there were many.
So that's the way it goes.
That's
So
wonderful. I'm so happy we had this conversation.
you're welcome.
My face hurts from smiling now.
Uh, I'm hot. Oh, always when you catch me, it's quite cold here.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm hot now.
Are you still
And
walking?
my bedtime nearly. Yeah.
Do you still have time to walk?
Do I still have? Yes, I do. If nothing else, I walk to church.
I
It's
feel
very rare that I take the car to church. It's only when it's absolutely, really bad weather. Then I go, no, I end up in church absolutely like a drenched rat. So but normally, yeah, I walk. I mean, yesterday I walked to meet the person for coffee. And as I set off, it was only slightly drizzly. I thought, that's fine. Because by the time I walked back, the heavens had opened. But I came home as a drowned rat, but that's okay.
but that's okay. I
Yeah.
want I want to see if anybody has any questions for you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Jackie? You can mention them in the comment section in the live chat there, and then we'll see if Jackie wants to answer the question. So tell us while we wait. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about your family. Has any family member come around? Has to your change?
No,
No.
like I say, but I've not had any negative
Mm,
comment, which is what I was expecting.
mm.
My son, the comment I got from him was, well, not all vicars, pastors are bad,
Oh,
which to me was quite a
yeah,
whoa.
yeah. It was a negative, but still positive.
Yeah, it was to me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so, yeah, but I mean, when I went to the Netherlands for my brother's funeral, I talked to my eldest brother because they didn't know the story either. I mean,
Mm,
we'd not spoken for however many years.
mm,
And it was received quite well.
mm.
So we'll
Oh,
see. Again,
that's good.
planting seeds.
That's great. So we have a question by Lady Marie. She says, "Was there anyone in your life, like friends or family or anyone, who tried to talk you out of accepting Jesus?"
No,
No.
no. And even if they tried, they would have stood no chance. Once I said my yes,
Yes is
you know,
yes.
it was yes. Um, because I knew it was him. If it had been my brain thinking something up, it would have been Jack's. Follow me.
That's how you refer to yourself when.
Yes. And it wasn't. It was Jackie. Follow me.
That's
That's what.
awesome.
Whoa.
That's awesome because, as you know, like an atheist would say, that's
It's
just
your.
you
Yeah.
convincing
Yeah.
yourself that
Yeah.
that was the voice of God.
Yeah.
And to some degree, well, maybe because they don't have that experience, because they want to intellectualize everything. They don't step behind their intellect and sit in their spirit, right?
Mm.
I don't know if
Mm.
that's your experience, but for me, that's been my experience. I was in the way because I was all mind,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I was always in the way.
You said, Jax, get out of the way.
Yes. And the things like I'd never heard of the vineyard. I wasn't looking for a church. I'd walked past that sign for the vineyard. I don't know how often,
Hmm.
and I'm sure that one day he just went, "Excuse me, look, look." And I went, "Oh, not seen that before." So that's no, it wasn't. Look, I mean, I was in a C of E for a bit, but that I was just a pew filler for a year. It just wasn't. I
That's
was obviously looking,
yeah.
but even when I was in the church, I kept saying, "Well, I'm not sure if God is here," and
Hmm.
that was in the church.
Yeah.
Whereas the vineyard, so obvious. Yeah, God, the Holy Spirit. Oh, He's there.
Yeah. See, that's really interesting to me, because you had so many years of
Mm,
atheism, which means many years of conditioning, which means many years of pushing against.
yes.
And how long would you say it took before you saw that shift, from the moment you were like sort of introduced to it, or considered it, or came across anything Christian, to the point where you just said yes?
I think because because of my world travels to Australia and the Netherlands that didn't work out, when I came back to Hornsey, so many people were so helpful. Nothing to do with Christianity at all. It was a case of, well, you need a bed, you need a kettle, you need it, and set me up. But I ended up with no money at all because my money had gone to the Netherlands.
Mm,
Um, and somehow the local vicar found out about this. And I got a message from him via a friend. Will you be in, I don't know, Tuesday afternoon, 4 o'clock? And I went, yeah, thinking, what does a vicar want to do with me? Go away. But anyway, he turned up with 2 bags of food from the food bank,
mm,
which absolutely blew me away.
mm.
And I made him a cup of tea, and then he said, "I'll see you in church on Sunday." And I went, "No, no, 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 no,
You're like that. There it is.
no, no. Been there, done that. No."
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Well, why not?" Oh, it's a long story. Right, make me a cup of tea and talk to me. So I made him another cup of tea. I talked about some of my past, and he apologised, although it wasn't his fault, obviously, but he apologised for what the church had done to me. And that blew me away initially. And then come Christmas, because I came back in September, so come December, music's always what got me.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, carols. I love carols. Do you know what? I'll go to the carol service.
Yeah. Okay.
And I sort of walked in with my head down thinking, this roof's going to fall in. It didn't.
Okay.
So that was the initial sort of contact. I think he was softening my heart. I wasn't ready to accept.
Yeah.
And the vicar kept saying, you need to come to church. And I kept saying, no, I don't believe. And in the end, I gave in, went to church, would not take communion because I said, I don't believe.
Mm.
But I was quite happy to go up for communion, blessing,
Mm-hmm.
rather than communion.
Right.
I thought that won't do any harm, will it? To be blessed. Fair enough. I mean, I was on antidepressants. I was not in a good place. He moved to Hull, and he said, you need to move to Hull. Where you are now is not a good place for you. And he was right. So I moved to Hull and started to join his church again. But like I said, I sort of, wasn't good. I was a pew filler. And it became habit forming to go to church on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till lockdown, of course, when I started, when I fell across you in a YouTube video, that it all sort of escalated, really.
You're blaming me? No, no, no,
Yes.
no, 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 no. I ain't
Yeah.
got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
Well, that is
You were
something I will
used.
gladly take the blame for.
Yeah, you were used. So, yeah, your fault. I blame you for it all.
That's wonderful. I'm really happy for you, and I'm happy that things turned out for
Yes.
the best.
It's family. I've found family. A local family. I know you lots of family, but
Yeah,
a local.
that's great.
Simple things. I needed some furniture moving because they came and rolled my carpet up. Well, there was no way. One of the big units, no way. And I'd said to the youngsters, I said, can somebody lift this? And it wasn't a case of, well, I'll have to think about it and let me look at my diary. No, I'm not sure about this. It was all right. When does it need doing? When will you be in? So they shifted it. And then 2 days later, I had another text message saying, has it all been done? Because we'll come and move it back. And it's simple things like that
Yeah,
just blows me away.
yeah.
Wow. When I went down with COVID, next day, there's a bag on your doorstep with food, take it in. 3 days later, there's a hot meal on your doorstep, get it eaten now. So it's that church has been a big, big blessing to me, and it still is.
That's
It's still,
wonderful. That's
yeah.
wonderful.
I have no regrets at all. I found home till he calls me home. That's mine.
Oh, well, hopefully not soon.
Yeah. Well, it's still So
Yeah,
that's my story.
that's wonderful. That's a wonderful story. I got so involved in your story that I forgot to see if there were any other questions. But I think we'll just end it here, and then we'll let you go
Yeah.
to bed because I know it's really late for you.
Yes, it's this funny clock. Yeah, 11:15.
11. Okay. Well, that's still early for me because I don't go to bed until like 2 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the
Yeah,
morning.
that was the same yesterday. I was
Yeah.
talking to grandchildren in Australia,
Ah.
so it was 2 o'clock.
All right. Well, it was wonderful talking to you. Hopefully, we could get
And
to
you,
talk again.
yeah,
All
and
right. Take care.
love you.
No, we
Bye.
we love you. Bye.
Bye.
Ah, love Jackie. Farmer Jackie. Uh, let's see. I didn't even check to see if there was anyone else who was interested in talking. Let's see. I have Lady Maria. I discovered you when we were watching The Chosen on YouTube and watched reaction videos of episodes and found you. I loved your insights and desire to understand what you were watching and how beautifully honest you were. Thank you so much, Lady Marie. Let's see. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to send it to you and see if you want to join me for a quick conversation. Um, so you see, if we learn anything from this last conversation, is that sometimes I get that there are people who you will preach to that that preaching will, excuse me, will touch, will move in some way. But when dealing with an atheist, you definitely want to show them God's love versus put versus just quoting God's word, because number one, they do not. Oh, it says God bless you. I have to run. Okay, Lady Mary, I guess you're not joining me, but that's fine. We'll see ya. Thank you. Number one, they don't believe that the Bible is the word of God, so that's not going to help. All you're doing is quoting Matthew. All you're doing is quoting John. There is no word of God. It's just a man who wrote these words. You say it's inspired, and they say, "How do you know it was inspired?" So that's a dead end. Secondly, they don't believe in God, or at least many of them claim that they don't believe in God, and so you might as well be telling them to believe in something else that's fictional, which it will compare it to the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, and all of that, right? So telling them, well, there is a God and He died for you is just like, well, there is a Tooth Fairy and she comes in the middle of the night. It's just the same. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. Or I'm not trying to say that this is true, but this is just the thought, the thinking of an atheist. So when dealing with them, definitely show them kindness. It's better to say, hey, I just came to check up on you and see how you're doing. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I treat you to lunch, just to see how you're doing? So how are you doing? And then listen. Don't bring up church. Don't bring up God. Don't bring up any of that. Now, this is my opinion. Okay, this is just my opinion. You talk to them, check up on them. Sooner or later, that person will say, why are they always okay? Why are they always happy? Why are they always so helpful? Why does it seem like their finances are in order? Why does it seem like they have things together? And then find out that maybe you don't have things together. Maybe your finances aren't in order, but you cared about them. But you cared about them. And what's the difference there? What's the difference between someone who wants to treat me to dinner because they want something from me versus this person who is treating me to dinner just to check on how I am? What's the difference? And then the difference is Christ. And when they realize that the difference is Christ, it just begins to form an interest, a curiosity behind, like, okay, well, maybe there's something about this Christ person. And when they start seeing things like The Chosen, and they start seeing Jesus who cared about people, who hung out with the people that nobody wanted to hang out with, the Pharisees didn't want anything to do with, and they said, like, well, this guy's cool, he hangs out with people like me, and now I want to be like him. Now I want to be more like him. um okay, sorry, I saw my thing refreshing. I wasn't sure if I went offline or not. I'll take for example yesterday's conversation that we had an atheist that jumped on board. He was he, um, he was just really trying to disturb, right, the peace. He was hearing a message and he's like, well, the Muslims say that too. And he was just really trying, and I'm glad that nobody booted him out. And here's why. He needed to experience what he experienced. He said, you know what, usually people would have kicked me out by now just by me asking these questions, but you guys haven't kicked me out. And he appreciated that, right? He appreciated that. Not just that, he said, I like this channel. He liked this channel. He says this is a good channel, right? And at the end there, I was explaining, but my the footage was getting cut off, and I was explaining, you know what? He serves as a customer, and we are sort of that survey. How did we do? Were we Christ-like? Did we make you feel Christ's love, or at least his acceptance, right? And I didn't get a chance to hear back from him, but hopefully he stops by again. Erica and I had that conversation yesterday. Like, that's what people need. They need to feel the love of God, not just hear the word, because sometimes the word isn't just the word itself. Sometimes the word is in your actions. If you take the word that you read and it says love your neighbor, you don't go out and tell somebody, hey, I'm going to love you because God tells me here in the Bible it says love your neighbor, right? No, you go and you put on the word, and then you transform that word into action, and you love your neighbor, you feed your neighbor, you help them with something that they need, right? Not just your neighbor, but you take it farther and you help your enemy. You help your enemy, right? um at least that's how I see it. You might see different, you might see it differently, but I will tell you that it's better. People will know God's love, and they will know that you follow a God worthy of being followed by your actions. When you love someone else, they'll say, "There's something about this God that he follows that I kind of would love to put on as well. I'd like to feel good like this person feels good. I would love to feel to be happy like this person feels happy. I would love to have peace in my heart like this person has peace in their heart. I would love for someone to say, wait a minute, wait a minute. You mean to tell me, like that young lady we spoke to yesterday? You mean to tell me your husband passed away and suddenly then you found comfort afterwards?" And someone will say, "My spouse passed away years ago and I can't get over how angry I am that this happened. How can I find that peace?" And by hearing that story, they find peace, and they find opportunity to not be bitter with their children or with their loved ones or at work, and live a better life, right? Right. And as we saw with Jackie, I see your message, Jackie, and that's what we see with Jackie. Jackie was an atheist, right, for years. She finally surrendered and said yes to following Christ. She has conviction, inner conviction, because it didn't say Jax, follow me, because that would have been her own voice saying that. It said, Jackie, follow me. And she did. She followed. She followed, and now she's participating in her church. She's helping other people, and she's expressing, she's allowing herself to be, she's allowing God to pour his love into her and allowing herself to pour it out into others. I think that's a good mission to have. Mm. It's a good mission to have, to say, God, you love me in such a beautiful way. You accept me just as I am, and you're helping me. You're not just leaving me as I am. You're helping me grow. You're giving me insight into how what's stopping me from growing. You're giving me insight into what's keeping me from having a great relationship with you, and as a byproduct of that, have a better relationship with my children, have a better relationship with my spouse, have a better relationship with my friends, with my neighbor, how to turn my enemies into my friends. You're teaching me all of that, but I have to be willing. I have to be willing to to be coachable by you, right? And that's what Jackie. I believe that's what Jackie did. She allowed herself to be a vessel, an open vessel for his love, and now she's being used. She's being used. So if anybody would care to join me for one last conversation, I can have one more here before we log out. Oh, excuse me, log off. No, slow down, Leonardo. um, just go ahead and shoot me an email at the email that is pinned here on the live chat. I will send you an email with a link, and then you can join me if you'd like. But that's just it, familia. You know, it's like it's no different than, say, let's just say I have an interest in arts and crafts. I love arts and crafts, and I've made, like, for example, this wallet. I made this wallet. Yeah, please, water, please. So I made this, right? I love making things like this, and in order for me to know how to make it, I'm gonna turn to someone who knows how to do it. I might check out a few YouTube videos, and I'll see someone who makes beautiful wallets, and I turn to that person to teach me be, how to do what they know how to do. In the same way, when we see someone who's got peace in their heart, when we see someone who loves others and is very giving, there's something attractive about that. There's something that we want to do something like that. So we turn to that person. How can I be more like you? And he says, no, no, no. It's not that. It's not me. It's the God that I follow. The God that I follow is loving and caring and respectful and giving, and he gives freely. And I want to be just like him. So if you want to be like me, you don't turn to me, turn to him. And it starts to unfold. It starts to unfold. But um, like Jackie said, it's not the taking to the corner and preaching. It's not yelling at people. It certainly is not judging people and condemning them or telling them that they're going to hell if they don't think you love if they don't follow Jesus. It's not scaring them into following, and you don't want that anyway, because any person who follows Christ out of fear won't follow Christ. They will follow their fear. They follow their fear, which means that they're creating an image of a terrifying afterlife, and instead of following Christ because they love him, and instead of moving away from that life, from their fear, they move away from the idea of that fear, but nothing in them changes. There's still no change to their addiction. There's still no change to their anger, to their jealousy, to their envy. There's no change to any of that. um, it's just replacing one feeling with another feeling. I don't want to feel this, and I want to feel this other thing. And what they do is they exchange that feeling, but there's no transformation. There's only conversion. I don't want conversion. I want transformation. Um, that's what I want. Um, oh, Melissa, yes, I will talk to you. Just one second. Let me just finish this thought, and then I will bring you on, because somebody asked, yes or no, what led you to atheism? What led me to atheism? uh, the priest at my church led me to atheism. But I can't just blame him. I have to point out that there were a lot of different things that led to that point. My grandfather passing away. Um, I had a beautiful relationship with my grandfather and with God after my grandfather passed. I felt loved and protected and guided by signs. And I had an uncle who didn't know any better at the time. He was still dealing with the passing of his father too. He dealt with it in his own way. He became a Jehovah's Witness. And when I told him about my experiences, he shut me down and told me that it was the devil that was showing me these signs so I can follow him instead. I asked, um, I had this conversation with my priest, with the priest of my church at the time, and I believe that he took my questions like me doubting the faith, and he started treating me differently. And I used to play guitar at the church. I was always at church. And one day he didn't like how he played, and he said, "If you ever play like that ever again, I'm going to kick you out of this church." Just plain and simple like that. And I said, "You know what? This is not a person who's representing God. He didn't represent the love of God for me. He was impatient with me. Um, he was rude. True, he was human, so I'll give him that. But a person who's transformed by God, a person who went through years of schooling and education to represent God um, and to spread the message of God, that seemed like Erica's grandpa would say, unbecoming. It's unbecoming. And so it was the church that turned me into an atheist. I ran. I said no. Um, if my experience isn't real, if that isn't God, and it might be the devil, then I'll cancel everything. I canceled all of it, and I went away from it. I went away from the church. Not just that, I went on a mission to prove that there was no God. And Melissa, I send you a link, by the way. So I went on a mission to prove that there was no God. And anyone who wanted to talk to me about God, I was just angry. I was angry about it, and I had my things to say about that. um, I had my things to say about that, and they weren't kind. And sometimes my conversations with them would start out kindly, but would end up not kind. um, I would work the conversation into a discussion, and then the discussion into a straight out argument or humiliation. That was me. I'm ashamed of it, to be honest. Hi.
Hi again.
Hi again. Welcome.
Glow, I'm on a live stream. Do you want to come and say hi? It's up to you. Okay, but you got to go back to bed, okay?
Oh,
This
oh,
is
hi.
Glow.
Hi, Glow.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Is it bedtime?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do.
And you're sick, so you got to go and get some sleep, please.
Well, I do. So, are you real? And are you?
Yep. This is a live stream. There's a lot of people who are seeing you right now.
Yeah. So you want to say hi?
Yeah.
Okay, say hi.
Hi. There's a lot of names.
Yes,
Yeah,
there's a lot of names.
I have a question for you before you go to bed.
Mhm.
You ready?
Okay, what's the question?
Yeah. Let me
Okay.
see.
Grown-ups, we don't understand kids sometimes, right? But 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 do you have a message that you want to tell us grown-ups? Would you want to say?
Are you talking to me?
Yes,
Yes,
he's
I'm talking
talking
to
to you. It's for you.
What do you want to tell grown-ups about kids?
Sometimes they mess up things,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they be naughty and get in timeout or spanking or lose
Uh-huh.
TV
Uh-huh.
for a week or a year.
A year. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. But you don't always mean to be muddy, right? And all that.
I always don't be mean. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes when I ask for candy, she says no, and I respect.
Why?
Well,
Why do you think we say no?
Because mommy thinks it. I think it thinks that. She thinks that I'm not have it now.
It's because some kids have really beautiful teeth, and the sugar
Mhm.
can really mess up your teeth. Not
And,
just that,
and
the
can I
sugar makes
tell
you
you?
all wired.
Can I
Yeah,
tell you a question about this tooth? It's really special.
it's special.
Yeah, because it's wobbly. I'm about to lose another tooth because these are my new tooth. It's my grown-up teeth
But those
right
are your
here.
grown-up teeth. See, there you go. That's why you don't want to
And
have too
this
much candy.
one's starting to come out. It's all watch.
Whoa,
I
that's
can
great.
move
That's good.
it back and forth even from my top watch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot
okay, maybe we need to
that.
work on that. We don't want to lose that, right?
Yeah,
Not
I
too
don't
soon.
want to lose my tooth because
Yeah, but
mommy's the tooth fairy right now.
Yep.
oh, you want to know something?
Yeah.
Those grown-up teeth, those are the last ones you're gonna have. So you got to take care of them. That's why you
I
shouldn't have
know.
too much.
I don't
That's why you
want
don't
to
want to have
break
too much
my.
candy.
I don't
No,
want
no,
to break
no.
my grown-up teeth.
No, you don't.
That's why I'm putting my new grown-up teeth on
Big
here.
wide. Wide loud. Yep, let them see. Yep, you got big molars coming in.
Oh,
Bug
well, that's great.
models are grown-up teeth.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
but I
then
think
have a good night, okay?
This is.
okay, Glow, it's time for bed.
Can I go and see the live stream?
No, honey.
You can see it in the morning.
After the live stream is over, I'll let you see yourself and see the rest of the story. Would you like that?
Can I at least stay?
No.
Please,
No, Glow.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry. I
gotta
think I
say
woke her
goodnight
up
now.
more than.
I love you.
But I had one more question.
What was the one more question?
And one more question was.
What's your question?
And I knew a song that's really funny, and do you want to hear it?
Do we want to hear it, Mom?
She makes beautiful songs up
Okay.
into her mind. So if she want to hear
And
one more song, but then bed. Understand?
this
Yes.
is one of
Is
my
that a deal?
favorite. This is one of my funny songs.
Wait.
Peanut butter.
Before you start, hang on. I gotta get ready. And then also, Mom made a deal with you. She said bed right after this. Deal?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go. I'm ready.
Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time.
Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. I like that song.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I
And
have an
that's
8-year-old
I
and
can
she
sing
loves
the
that song
whole
too.
song.
No, that's enough. Bedtime. Let's go.
Yeah, it's
Good
bedtime. We had a
night.
deal.
Say good night.
I hope you see us me again.
Oh,
Okay.
you okay? Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm talking to Leo live right now. Okay. That was my hubby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I think I woke her up more.
No problem. That's her. She loves people and she loves connections. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, she's very bright.
We called her Gloria because we're so thankful for her and wanted to give God glory. And her love's name's Glow, and she
And she does.
glows.
Yeah,
She glows.
she does.
Yeah.
She does. That's great. So what were we talking about yesterday?
Well, mostly I was gushing over you. So
No.
I didn't exactly talk about me. Gloria Ruth Hall.
We have a full name. That's how you know.
She wants to be a part of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a story that you'd like to share about I don't know, your faith or
My faith's been a part of my life this whole time. I asked Jesus in my heart when I was 5, got baptized when I was like 8 or 9, and then in grades, I learned I had a learning disability when I was a very young kid, and that kind of it changed things. It really changed things. It's like you're not perfect and you're kind of weird, and up here in Canada, it's like around grade 6 or 7, you start doing French, and my English was not good. And then all of a sudden I got confused and stuff like that. So they took me out of French, and every kid in this place is like, we got to take French. And then the weird kid gets out. Just, no, not good. So I was kind of the weird one out, the ostracized kid. And I honestly, in grade 7, I was going home and I was crying on my bed every single night because I felt like I had no friends or anything. And that's when Jesus became real to me. I felt his hand on my shoulder and I felt him saying, I love you. I accept you for who you are. You are beautiful in my eyes. What they say does not matter. I am the Alpha and the Omega. What I say is matters. And I held on to that, and I grabbed onto it. And then I started praying very dangerous prayers of, okay, what do you want in your life, Melissa? I'm like, okay, I can do a lot of things in heaven. I can't get married. I can't have kids. I can't hear well done, good, faithful servant at the end of my life. I want to get those things done now because it's the only time I can do them.
Yeah.
And also, I knew I had some beauty, but I also knew that I was also weird. And so I could be maybe in the in crowd, or I could be myself. And I was like, I'd rather be myself, because I was always outside the in crowd. And I was like, all the people are just stabbing at each other's backs. Why would I want to be?
Yeah, right.
But then there's abandonment, and then there's like rejection, and you're like outside of the system. But I'd rather be real than be fake. I'd rather be authentic and be outside than be fake and inside and be accepted for not who I was. So there was that as well. And I also prayed, like, I wanted my husband to only see me for me, and Anthony's the only guy who actually saw me for me. And we're now together.
How
And
long?
Sorry?
How long have you been together?
It's been 10 years.
Oh,
10
wow.
years married, 15 years together.
Yep.
So yes.
Okay. Congratulations.
And yeah, we've been going through some tough times. Like my husband in April had some health issues, and then we have no idea what's still going on. We're still trying to figure things out. But God's been providing our daily bread. Like, we got long-term disability. We shouldn't have long-term disability, but because you have no diagnosis, but we have it. And time after time after time, he's taking care of us. He's giving us our daily bread. He's making us rely on him. We're like, with what happened with him, looked like kind of a heart attack, and it was the day before our 10-year wedding anniversary, and it was like,
Boy.
I could have lost him. Okay. So it really, it's like, I'm thankful for that. I have him still. I'm thankful that my family is together. I'm thankful that life is weird right now. It's like, I grew up from a family who had the mortgage paid off when 12. We had a pool. Like, we were pretty well off. And it's like, there's always like, go to university, get married, get saved up, get investments, and all this other stuff. And right now we're living on day to day. And it goes back to the Jesus's sermon. Do not fear do not worry about what you will eat or what you will drink or what you will wear. Like, the pagans will please it, but your Father in heaven knows you need them. And he told me before all this happened was, you're going to go through a lot of storms, but I will provide, and I will provide more than you even imagine. And he has been. He really has been. So it's hard sometimes. It is really hard because I'm the one who's holding everything up and driving people around and homeschooling Glow and all this other stuff. But I'm not bored.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that sounds very challenging.
So that's a bit of what my life is. And it's like, I kind of relate with you, Leo, because I grew up in my faith all this time, and I went through a Baptist church, but I've had prophetic or like things that are kind of not exactly accepted in certain cult stuff. And it's like, I've always felt like I'm a connector. I connect the secular with the sacred, the dancing with the music, and it's sometimes lonely, and it's sometimes that's the thing. I never lost my faith, but it's hard for me to actually explain it. Do you understand? Like, if I came across, like you said, you as an atheist, and you would start putting questions towards me, I probably would have gotten quiet. I probably would have just been praying for you. I probably would not. I sometimes I don't know how to answer lovingly in truth, and when I'm asked those questions, do you understand? All I can do is just get quiet and listen and pray. That's all I can do. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. But also, I can take it like very sensitively, like you're attacking me, and then I withdraw instead of sticking around and showing up.
Sadly, some atheists will catch up on that, and then they will double down on their aggressiveness. But I think, being quiet and silently praying for the person is better than losing your temper and yelling at them or saying, well, that's why you're going to hell, and I'm going to be in heaven, I'm going to smile down from you in heaven, just all these things. And I think a lot of times an atheist just really wants to push those buttons to get you to go to a place that they know that they can get you to be angry, and then say, you see, where's your God now? Where is God now? Where is your love and your compassion and your passionate? If you really follow God, where is that now? And it's such a terrible place to be in as an atheist, also, because that comes from anger, and it's not healthy. It's just eating up at that atheist, right? Versus just allowing a person to be happy and to love others and to love God in their way, or to have the relationship that they have with God. I don't know, as an atheist, you feel like almost like a game, like you want to just mess with that. You want to bring a little darkness into that, but only because you feel that darkness, because you loved. Well, I speak for myself. Like, I loved God so much, and I was all in. And then suddenly, someone forced their negativity in me, and now I'm angry at God, and so I'm angry, and I want you to be angry too. I don't want you to be. I don't want you to have the love. I want you to experience the darkness that's in me. And of course, none of that is conscious. All of it is subconscious, and you don't know that you're doing it, but you're just being driven by that anger, or driven by that hatred towards God, or in all things God. So it is better to sometimes remain quiet and to pray for that person. So yeah, I think that's a better approach. Yeah. What would
So.
you say? What would you say was the biggest hurdle that you had growing up with you feeling weird about yourself, or what was the biggest thing that you felt like you needed to get over, to overcome?
Well, my learning disability. It was a communication disability. Actually, me being able to talk to you like this is a miracle, honestly. Because my mind could go a mile a minute. This stupid thing was in molasses. It's like, okay, so rate of Olympic sprinter with a guy in molasses, go. And then and then it's like, so it was, my mouth couldn't keep up. I couldn't express myself. My mind would go a mile a minute. And then it's like, okay, I make all these connections with my mind. And then it's like, we'd have a conversation and I'd bring up another question and everyone would be like, what planet did you just come from? And it's like, I can't give you the connection that I made because I just don't
Yeah.
know how to make this thing
Huh.
work. But through time and through work and, well, my parents, my dad's brother was 10 years older than him, was a pastor, but also a principal at a school. They took all my stuff to them and he took one look at the stuff and he said, she can overcome this.
Mm.
And I, by God's grace, has learned the tools I need to overcome this. I was also, God placed me in the right time and age, because in grade 7, I was the first person to have a laptop because I needed it.
Yeah,
Because
cool.
without that laptop, it's like all of a sudden my brain and these fingers could keep up. I couldn't write and get everything that the teacher was saying or write nicely at the same time. But then I got the laptop and then I could just express myself.
Yeah.
And over time, I learned how to express myself shortly and quickly very easily by using metaphors, by using pictures and stuff like that to get people to convey what I was trying to say.
I think
And
that's actually really important, what you just pointed out, because everyone learns differently, right? Like that was my issue in school. I tell people I was terrible at math, but I was gooder at English. that that like in math, I sort of understood algebra, but I would get to an answer one way, and the teacher would say, "How did you get to this answer?" And I would say, "Well, I got it this way." And he goes, "No, no, no, you need to learn it this way." And it's like, is the answer correct or is it wrong? And it's like, it's correct, but you need to do it this way. And it's like, so if it's correct, then what does it matter
what's
which way,
why? Yeah,
right? If it's right,
exactly.
right?
You're
And
right.
and then I saw that when my daughters started going to school, they started teaching that second way, third, up to three ways of getting to the same answer, so that the so in other words, the teacher is adapting to the way that the student learns versus forcing a student to learn in the way that the teacher teaches. And I think that's important, because then it allows for other kids to also get creative and maybe learn that subject a little bit deeper or more solidly, by knowing like, oh, okay, so there's also this other way that I can learn how to get to this specific answer. And and I forgot where I was going. See, everybody, everybody's this way. I know that
Yeah,
I have my moments where I started a conversation and then we're like, I tell Erica like, wait, how did we end up here? And it's like, oh yeah, you said this, and then we got here. Like, oh yeah, that's right. And we go back to
yeah,
the conversation. But I think it's important that what you're pointing out is that you had to find out which was the best way for you to learn, and then
yes.
you went down that path.
And I found that I usually had to go the long way around to figure
Hmm.
out how to actually do things. But then
Hmm.
as time went on, it's like, okay, I could do a shortcut here, shortcut here,
Yeah,
shortcut here. But yeah, it
yeah,
but it was frustrating at school, honestly, because I always felt like I had to do 110% just to get underneath what everyone else was able to do so
yeah,
easily. And it was hard.
yeah.
But I look back on it and it's like, because of my learning disability, that's what kept me close to Christ. Because it kept me, it's like, it goes back to The Chosen, episode 3, season 3. The Naaman and the widow knew their need for him. And because they knew their need and knew that they were poor, they held on to them. And when they were given that chance of rescue, they grabbed onto it. And that's for me. Like, without my learning disability, I could have been maybe the popular kid of the group, and I don't know where I would be. I'd probably be dead, honestly, with all the stuff that might be going through, honestly. And it's like, I've noticed so much that the trials that we have in our lives are there to refine us, are there so that we can grow compassion in our hearts, so that we can have compassion for other people, so that when we've gone through that darkness, we can actually have compassion for those people who go through that darkness as well, and therefore show love and light in their time of darkness. But it also can be a protection. It can be a protection of things and like minefields that we don't even realize we're walking through. And he's protecting us by going through trials or going through these troubles right this time. Because if everything was going well, we have no idea what we might be putting our foot on.
Yeah,
And
for real.
yeah,
I like that, because I have that attitude when I'm, for example, I can't find my keys, and right before I'm leaving, or when I'm supposed to turn on a street and I go past it, and I always think, I remind myself, like, well, there's a reason why I couldn't find my keys today. What if I would have left when I wanted to leave, and I would have gotten into an accident,
right.
or or whatever. Like, I
Yep.
I didn't go down that street in that time because maybe there was something terrible waiting for me,
Right.
and whether it's true or not, at least it helps me. I feel it helps me navigate through the minds, as you said.
Yeah. Back to traffic. I did the exact same thing. If everyone's trying to cut me off or I'm seeing someone going a little fast, I start saying a prayer for them, because I think, okay, you guys need it.
Yeah,
And it keeps the joy going instead of losing it because of
yeah,
the anger.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Not allowing it to disturb the little piece that you can find.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Well, good. I'm glad that you overcame that, and that you are where
With
you are
his
now,
help. Yeah.
with his help. And I'm glad that you are where you are right now. I know that you mentioned that things are rough, but I admire the faithfulness. That you're still sticking with God, regardless of what is being thrown uh, your way. Um,
I can't just keep on saying what Job said. Even though he slays me, I will still hope in him. I can't. He's the one who's held me together. He's the one I'm able to think, I'm able to breathe, I'm able to not get overwhelmed. I can't let him go because he's my life and I'm nothing without him. So
mm,
for me, it's like I can't do anything else.
yeah. Huh. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing that
Thanks
with
for letting me
with
on
us.
again.
Yeah, sure, no problem. We're gonna head out now. We have
Okay.
other things to do, but thank you so much for joining me, and for sharing that. I hope somebody is moved by your story, or someone who may be going through the things that you're going through is inspired to keep pushing forward.
I hope so.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining.
God
Bye.
bless you.
God bless you. Technology. It's not my thing. Oh, there it is. All right, family. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for those of you who shared your stories with us. Thank you for an awesome live chat. I've been seeing some of your comments here. If there's anything that we can pray for you, you can leave it in the comment section down below. Erica and I will look through it later, and we'll add you to our prayers. Familia, thank you so much for joining. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.